So let's kick it off with our panel introduction. First, I'd like to introduce Krista Kim. She's a digital artist and she's a global ambassador of SuperWorld. We have David Lucatch, who is the co-founder, director, and president of Liquid Avatar Technology. He's also a partnership with Oasis Studios, and he's been working very closely with NCFA for a number of years. He's also an advisor at the association. So thanks, David, for partnering on this session. We also have Ruth McCartney, the CEO and co-founder, Digital Diva and McCartney Multimedia. And for those wondering, I have a little tidbit here. In Ruth's earliest days of learning the value of fans, she was involved with managing the Beatles fan club management. It was her childhood pocket money, and now she's doing all things marketing, big data, mobile commerce, and branding. And the tip is, if you think about Beatles and the McCartney name, maybe you'll put two and two together. So I just thought I'd introduce that. So let's kick things off. Before we go, I just want to introduce NFTs a little bit. It's non-fungible tokens. We have heard a ton about NFTs right through all 3 days of the conference. So I think people have some grasp that almost anything in the physical world can be digitized as a digital asset these days. It's a store of value. They can be traded. There's a lot of innovation that's happening. But this panel specifically, we're going to talk about the value that is occurring, and we're going to try to tackle it from a few different perspectives. So I'm going to just kick it off because I think most people know what an NFT is, but they may have other questions around it. So what is being sold through NFTs today? You know, who's selling it? Why do you think they're selling it through an NFT? And what is the fascination? Why is it taking the world by storm? It's going to give that question to you, David.
Well, thanks, Craig. Great to be here, and Krista and Ruth, great to be on the same panel with you. Real pleasure. And so, you know, it's really interesting because my personal opinion is that NFTs represent a new way to look at digital collectibles. You know, I'm a lifelong comic book collector, so for me, collecting has always been, you know, second nature to me. So when I look at NFTs, I think, wow, if I had to carry all my CGC comic books and carry them over to a friend's house, I'd have these boxes full. But on using NFTs, I can take that same comic book and reduce it to an image on my phone or something very light. So it provides me portability. NFTs have the ability to do things that other multimedia files don't. They have the ability, which many multimedia files do, they have the ability to create a story. But NFTs can also be connected to experiences, not only multimedia events, but also something physical. And NFTs have the ability, because they're on the blockchain and because they are effectively unique in nature, they can become collectibles. And positioned properly, NFTs can be a collectible that are desirable and will have not only primary sales, but secondary sales. So who's selling them? And it goes from everywhere from artist to talent, and the talent is encompassing of artists, but could be someone in the music industry, someone in the sports industry, someone in the technology industry. So it really, what it does is it is a great equalizer. It offers the opportunity for artists and talent that may have challenges breaking into a very limited conventional world, opportunities to really showcase their abilities and their vision to a wider audience online. So it's really a remarkable equalizer, and it gives the masses an ability to consume things that they wouldn't otherwise consume. So those are the type of people that are selling it. I think why it's taken the world by storm is there's a lot of conflicting views on this, and certainly my view will be my own. But you know, if you look at cryptocurrency today, it is very challenging to spend cryptocurrency on anything that is tangible or even intangible in some respects. But if you look at the rise in value of cryptocurrencies, you know, people now have spendable opportunities with NFTs that they didn't have before. If you combine that with the collectability motivation and acceleration, so that dollar that you may have spent on cryptocurrency that turned into $4 with some NFTs could turn into $12. Now, I'm not here to talk about value and look at that, but it is fueling an industry. That's why it's taking it by storm. One is the factor that it's giving everyone access to a plethora of new opportunities. Two, it is really changing the dynamics of putting an artist or talent together with a consumer. And the third, it's giving those that have cryptocurrency the ability to spend it in a new and interesting way.
Absolutely. The world is certainly changing. We have a world-renowned digital artist right here with Krista Kim. Well, thank her for joining us. I want to share a piece of information. Kim sold the first NFT digital home in the world, and it hit an all-time high record sale on superrare.com. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience, Krista, and also as a digital artist, just what's your perspective with NFTs? Is this effect, obviously, is completely impacting the art and collectible space? You know, are there good stories, bad stories? Anything you want to share? Oh, can you turn your unmute?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and sorry about the muting thing. I've been a digital artist since 2013. And I have experienced the traditional art world through gallery shows, art fairs, and I had an art agent. So I know the ins and outs of the traditional art world. And I recently experienced my first NFT sale in February in SuperRare. And Mars House was I think it was my 6th NFT that I'd sold after, having some experience on the platform and understanding the marketplace and the dynamics of this incredible new way of selling art. For me, as a digital artist, the problem for me and the challenge was always copying. There was always the threat of my art being copied a million times, and it's so easy to do. But with blockchain technology now, we have one marked original piece or a series of pieces if you choose to mint a limited series of artwork. So rarity is now presented into the digital space. So that's the game changer. And it's also the fact that artists now have sovereignty over their careers because the intermediary market is pretty much eliminated from these platforms. So we have direct access to the collector's eyes. And so we forge a direct connection and relationship with the collectors. So this is a completely new dynamic in the art world. And so for me, it's been a wonderful experience, and I find it extremely empowering and freeing in many ways, because now I can actually invest into creating better art into my career. And I can also participate in supporting social initiatives with artists, with other artists, with collectors. I give a portion of, the majority of the Mars House sale actually is going toward the Continuum Foundation, where I am producing a worldwide tour of healing sound and light meditation artworks around the world in collaboration with Jeff Schroeder of the Smashing Pumpkins. So if this were not an NFT initiative, it would never have happened. Okay, So it's a completely new ballgame. Now the Mars House itself, I actually created the Mars House last August during the height of the COVID lockdowns. I created my dream home. I wanted to create a home that heals, because digital technology for over the past 10 years has become a very predatory marketplace on the users. We are used as a product. We are the product. Our data is product. A lot of the data that we see on the screens is not necessarily good for us. And social media has created a young generation of the most depressed and anxious young people ever in human history through social media platforms that preys upon human weaknesses and behaviors. So I think that in general, digital has been, a challenging and toxic culture in many ways for young people. And so psychologically, I felt that we needed an antidote for that. And my work is meant to heal through the screen. So the NFT actually offers me this opportunity to bring my message into the world. And Mars House is that expression. Mars House is a house that heals through my art. It is an architectural sculpture of light, if you will. The floor and the ceiling are LED substrates that plays my healing digital sound and light installations, and it becomes a place of healing and meditativeness. And so, yes, so we did have a record sale, and the owner of the Mars House is a collector who is very interested in investing in artists and investing in positive social change around the world.
I love everything. That's an amazing perspective. I happen to know, because I Googled it in online, that Mars House sold for $500,000, I believe, and or something like that. And the actual house, it's online. Maybe you can share in chat for all the attendees to check it out, because it's pretty remarkable. So if you haven't and you want to get to see the Mars House and get in that psychological space and check it all out, see the kind of work that Chris is doing, I completely recommend it. So one thing that I think is super exciting about NFTs and just verifying, here's the first of 500 and the second of 500, third 500, who can talk to, the secondary market nature of transferring an NFT, and is it always on the same blockchain? Can you have and transfer from one blockchain to another? It's not meant to be a technical question. It's just around the ownership and the secondary trading part of it, so attendees can better understand, how that mechanism might work. So maybe this is a question for you, David, if you wanted to jump on that.
Well, I'll try to answer it as non-technical, because I'm not an expert in the technicalities, although I do understand it. So, it all depends where you start on the smart contract. That's really important. That anyone who's going to sell an NFT needs to ensure that the platform they're selling on, and try and see if they can review any of the smart contract that exists in the issuance of an NFT. Part of the challenges that have been around with what I would call Generation 1 platforms is that not all platforms are created equally. There have been some issues where platforms that you purchase on are really not putting the full artwork or full multimedia piece on the blockchain. The token itself represents the ownership, but the ownership is disconnected from the actual physical, the virtual item. So that's a bit of an issue. But when we start to see Generation 2 and Generation 3 platforms coming about, one of the new ones that's coming out and launching, in the near future will be Infinite by Soku, and some of the other new endeavors, the one that Mark Cuban's working on, and several others. We're starting to see that interoperability becomes a much bigger issue. And so at the end of the day, you want to have this portability or this interoperability between the product you bought and multiple devices. And while that isn't really there today, and most NFTs, sadly remain on the platform in which they've been minted, I do believe as this industry matures, you will get full transportability of an NFT, not only from platform to platform for secondary sales, but you will also get it into the Internet of Things. So we all dream of the day where we have a television screen behind us, and that showcases all our artwork, right? And that exists in some respects if we want to create a digital picture show, but I really want to be able to show my NFT wherever I go. One of the things that we're looking at is augmented reality. Can I take a representation of that NFT in which I own, and can I now put it in an augmented reality vault, and can I hang the picture that I have in my NFT vault? Can I hang it next to the most Mona Lisa in the Louvre? So there's all kinds of things that can be done. When it comes to secondary sales, or that you bought the NFT and now you're going to sell it again, be prepared that those contracts usually have a portion of that money going back to the platform in which you've sold them on, but also to the original creator. This is where NFTs really differ for talent and artists, because the original creator has a revenue stream that is continuous based on secondary, tertiary, and beyond sales, where if I bought something from an artist and sold it to another person, the artist would never receive anything. The other thing that people have to keep in mind is that, and I'm sure Krista will reinforce this, is that when you buy an NFT, just like buying a painting, you are buying that copy of that product. You are not generally buying the underlying copyright. So you have no rights to reproduce that in any manner. You can't put it on a t-shirt. You can't do anything with it other than to use it for your enjoyment and viewing pleasure or consumption pleasure. So I think we're seeing a lot of very quick evolution in this space, supported by a number of very, very sophisticated, like Hedera and Soku and some of the other blockchains and various coins that will allow, and new chains and side chains that are creating interoperability. I will say that for those that are also looking at environmental factors, a lot of the new opportunities go carbon neutral or support carbon neutral initiatives. So there is a lot going on in the industry, but suffice it to say that there is potential value for the artist in a secondary sale, and there are opportunities to keep things eco-friendly, cost-valued, and interoperable as we move forward.
So it solves royalties. There's a few things that in the next iteration of NFTs, the transportability will be resolved. I think it's incredibly exciting. I mean, look at the demand. So Ruth, I'm going to ask you a question to get you in the discussion here, because you have a marketing background, and I'm sure you've been on NFTs and successfully marketing them. And with your background of managing and building enormous communities and the brands and all the aspects, what from a marketing perspective, what do you think about NFTs? Is it a bridge? Is it completely new? Is it just something being rehashed? What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't think it's a rehash at all. I think it is. I think it's new, and one of the first collections that we're going to drop with Oasis Digital Studios is May Pang, who was John Lennon's muse and lover and girlfriend for 18-month period, which was called his Lost Weekend period. The first series that we're dropping are the unused, never printed, behind-the-scenes pictures of the Walls and Bridges album. And so as part of the marketing of that, we're sort of saying, because of the demographic of the Beatle fan being, not Gen Z, not millennials, it's generally shifts a little bit older. We are making sure that we have a platform that accepts fiat and not just crypto. And we're also using language in our marketing and in our tweets and in our video interviews. And you can see stuff at maypanggallery.com. And that we're using the phrase walls and bridges simply not just because that's what it is, but we're breaking down the barriers to entry, i.e. the walls for the people sort of 50, 55 and up. And we're building bridges between the old collectibles, which would be a Beatles, autographed fan club 8x10, and now turning that at McCartney Studios, we're turning many of these things into cinematic NFTs with 3D elements and so on. And in talking to May on a daily basis recently about the whole project, she just feels that John Lennon would be so excited about having another crack at the game with this digital technology. And, being purely sentimental, going back to what Krista said, being able to connect with the collector, that was John's passion. He used to call the fans the customers. He never called them fans. He always called them customers. And he used to call the middlemen the suits. And he would lament, he'd sit at our house on Sunday morning, breakfast up near Liverpool, and he'd say, God, if we could just coordinate and communicate directly with the customers and ask them, where should we play? What should we wear? Which song do they like the best? What should we release as a single? If there was just a medium. So basically in 1965, in his mind, he'd invented the internet. And so I know, because he was sort of like an uncle to me growing up, I know that he would be super excited about, not only this opportunity, but also the resale value, which one of the things we're doing is with gourmetnft.com, to get all of my chef and foodie friends the chance to not only have fractional cookbooks so that they don't have the whole problem of creating a cookbook and then maybe a year later they don't have that recipe on their menu anymore, but turning their recipes into revenue and helping out the beleaguered food industry, but also then earning residuals. They don't have to cook it, they don't have the food product, but if somebody should decide to trade that recipe, then some of that money goes back to the chef. And I just think also, it's frustrating for me as a foodie, you cannot copyright a recipe. Well, once we turn it into a mini movie and a multimedia 3-dimensional piece, these chefs finally will have the legal right to copyright their creations. So again, that's another aspect of the NFT world that, is sort of, I think it's overlooked a little bit, but they will own the copyright, and then collectors will be able to have, all the favorite dessert chefs or X amount of Michelin star chefs, and they can have it right here. This is their cookbook. They don't have to have shelves and shelves full of dead trees in the form of cookbooks to have 1 or 2 recipes they visit.
Absolutely, we're all in the new digital economy. Well, I am conscious of time. I know we started a little bit later, and one more question before we move to the next segment. Given the fact that this session's about the value in the strangest places, maybe if everyone could just give one quick example, the best example or one that they envision really evolving that they're super excited about, this value, and what is it unlocking, and why is it in the strangest place, and why is it new? David, I'm gonna throw this one over to you, and then maybe Krista, and then Ruth. Yeah,
sure. I'll be brief, but I think it'll be interesting. I really think that there's an opportunity to create digital wearables. And for anybody who plays games, which I have for many years, you want the biggest sword or the biggest gun in a game, but think about the opportunity to buy a pair of kicks that are just amazing and rare, but they never wear out, and I can wear them every day in the metaverse. So I think that sort of it becomes one of the strangest items that I think people will have to get their heads around. And then I could trade them out and sell them to someone else once I'm tired of them, and they never wear them out. So it's sort of like the everlasting gobstopper from Willy Wonka, right? Except that would have been kind of gross to share that. But so I think that's strange, because trying to get your head around a consumable that is no longer consumable is a really cool idea.
Interesting, very interesting. Krista? You got to turn your audio on.
Sorry, I'd like to expand on that. Actually, there is a place where you can actually upload 3D digital assets, NFTs, and that's a place called SuperWorld app. And I happen to be the global ambassador. And I'm very excited about this because it is the world where we can experience the world and enhance the real world with 3D digital assets to enhance our real lives. We can wear digital fashion. We can have incredible teddy bears coming out of birthday cakes and fireworks and balloons that are all augmented reality and not harmful to the environment. We can have skins for our architecture. In fact, architecture will be transformed because we can actually upload plans for architects in the actual plots to scale. And then we can actually have different skins for our homes and our buildings and our interiors. We are going to have an incredible creative renaissance because 3D digital assets will be used to enhance our lives and express who we are, just like tattoos.
Yep. And I think, coming from a music background, I'm looking forward to a project that we are working on, which is taking all the musicians that I know and creating the world's biggest jam session, not physically in one room, so people don't have to fly and deal with COVID, but trading stems and doing remixes and creating new music out of existing pieces and putting unlikely pairings together and using it as a mentorship platform for some of the artists who've done very well financially, who want to help young, independent, upcoming artists, but they're busy or they don't have the time or they can't get together or what have you. So I'm looking forward to doing more in the music space with stems and collaboration and creating new forms of art and new songs, again, copyrightable and with royalty back end for all the people that that took part in the original creation. So reinventing how music is made between established legacy artists and upcoming independents.
It's just so amazing. I mean, augmented reality, the collaborative efforts, it's all in this digital space, and the technology's arrived, and let's just hope it continues to evolve at this rapid pace. So I think it's fantastic. It's a perfect segue into the launch of an NFT charity auction. We'd like to add another speaker, CanadaHelps. Jacob, if you can share your video and get on screen, we'd love for you to join us. Perfect. As we were planning the FFCON21 Breaking program, obviously it's all about the innovation, and NFTs kept coming up. We thought, wouldn't it be amazing, because of COVID, there's so many fintechs that have really, having their best year ever, but at the same time, there's many people that are in dire need and they need some help. So we're really trying to push fintech for good. And we came up with the idea after having some a great conversations with a national charity called CanadaHelps. And they thought, NFT was this something that they've seen. They've certainly never tried it as a fundraising vehicle. And we agreed that let's partner and launch an NFT charity auction. So it's something we're going to officially do at the end of this session. But I want to welcome Jacob O'Connor to the stage. He's the Vice President of Charity Engagement and Growth at CanadaHelps. And, we are very thankful that you quickly understood under very short time constraint the opportunities of NFTs, and welcome you here. So Jacob, can you, I know you have some slides, maybe get them up and you can talk about some of the online charitable giving trends and things from CanadaHelps perspective.
Of course, yeah. The first thing I just have to say is that was a fascinating conversation. So thank you for that. Always cool to learn more about new technologies, and NFTs seems, pretty amazing, and something that we definitely have our eye on. So looking forward to sharing a little bit more about what we're doing over here as well at CanadaHelps. So I'll just share my screen here for a sec. Cool. Yeah, so again,
we can't see it yet.
Oh. How about now?
There it is.
Good to go? Okay, awesome. Yeah, and so also I'd just like to say quickly, thank you, Craig, as well, and to the NCFA for thinking about CanadaHelps for this, and for having us join you in your 7th annual conference. And especially for committing the funds raised to the auction to our healthcare and hospital fund, which I'll talk about in a sec. Just really quickly, for those of you that haven't heard about CanadaHelps, so we're a charitable foundation with a mission to increase charitable giving in Canada. So we do that predominantly in 2 ways. For Canadians, we have a one-stop shop, CanadaHelps.org. You can donate to, fundraise on behalf of, or learn about any charity in Canada. And then for Canada's 86,000 charities, we actually build affordable online fundraising technology. Lastly, we also we work with companies and startups to power charitable giving in their apps or with their employees as well. So those are kind of the 3 ways that we go about our mission. Really quickly, just to talk about the state of giving as a charity with a pulse on the sector, for some folks that aren't so familiar about the charitable sector. So charitable sector, we've been ringing the alarm bells for quite some time. It's been about 10 years where we've seen a decrease in giving. So back in 2007, 24% of Canadians made claimed a donation. By 2017, most recent CRA numbers, that number decreased to 19%. And even more so, which is a little bit more troubling, is the fact that Canadians 55 plus are taking on more of the giving burden when it comes to charitable donations. And so that's worrying as these donors age and aren't able to give at those same levels. But of course, like every other industry out there, things changed a lot in 2020 with the pandemic. So one thing we saw is that here at CanadaHelps, online giving grew by about 86% year over year. So 1.1 million Canadians gave over $480 million in 2020 using CanadaHelps. We're doing about a quarter of all online giving in Canada. So this is a pretty good indicator. At the same time, though, total giving, as projected in our latest giving report, is actually declined by 10% year over year this year. So at the same time, as some of you may or may not have imagined, charities depend a lot on in-person fundraising events and activities, and those were all gone last year. So at the same time, with the pandemic, there was an increase in demand for service. So 50% of Canadian charities reported an increase of demand for service. At the same time, 31% now have paid fewer staff than when the pandemic started. So uphill battle, definitely, for the Canadian charitable sector, one that's really important for serving our most vulnerable populations here. So talked a bit about the giving gap. Just one thing that's a real bright spot that I would say this year, and something that we've done here at CanadaHelps. So it's concept of a cause fund. So this is a really new and innovative way to give. So this was based on research that we did on younger generations of donors, and we really feel that's one of our biggest obligations at CanadaHelps, is to tap into this younger group. So instead of donating to a single charity or institution, you can actually donate to a fund. So it's around a particular cause, and so you have 20, 30, 40 charities that are all working towards the same common goal. And so as a young donor that I identify with the environment, I can make a single donation that supports all of these charities. We now have over 30 cause funds live on CanadaHelps.org. And so that kind of brings me to where the benefits are going to today. So again, we're super grateful to be part of the auction today. So one of the funds that we launched this year, and it was actually the first one we launched at the beginning of the pandemic, is our COVID-19 Healthcare and Hospital Fund. So in this fund, you will find 110 Canadian hospital foundations across the country. And this is getting life-saving aid and critical supplies to hospitals across the country. We've raised over $2.8 million so far. I think we hear from hospitals every day of how much this fund has meant to them. And I think at the same time, how much your participation in this auction will mean to them. Words can't quite capture it, so I hope this video can, and hope you're able to join us in supporting the fund as well. Awesome. So,
I know. Tough to watch.
So I'd like to now kick it off. I think I'll bring in Craig here.
Sure. So I hear a bit of an echo, but I know I just want to say that we're incredibly grateful to all the donors. So what we've done is gone to a variety of our partners, some of them here on the panel today, to say, listen, we've partnered with CanadaHelps. We have this very exciting opportunity to Fintech for Good, to raise some money. What can you donate? And so they've been great supporters. This is also Oasis Studios, and David has provided an NFT, and his staff and his resourcing to help set this up and make it proper. We've launched this the blockparty.io platform, or is it CO? Note, and the auction is live right now. David has just said that he has made the first bid. So I want to thank you for that, David. I could pledge that NCFA is going to make a bid as well, and we strongly encourage you. So we have 4 or 5 NFT items up there right now. The one is from a digital artist, Pierre Bork. He also runs Blockchain Radio, and it's titled Fishbone number 9, and the starting bid for that is going to be $1,000 US. We have another digital artist, Nathan McCrory. He has his very unique style, and his digital NFT, which you can see when you link to the link that we're going to share. Hopefully someone here from the team can share it in chat. We've also got an official press release that went out at 4 o'clock today. The actual auction itself is going to be live from now, essentially, that you can click and bid on these items to raise money for good for this help fund. And it's going to run all the way till June the 9th at about noon. So we strongly encourage, we're going to be campaigning for the next month on this to try to raise as much money as possible. We also want to thank SuperWorld, who's contributed not just Nathan McCrory's digital artwork, because he's working on NFT strategy at SuperWorld, and we thank him personally for donating that, but SuperWorld has donated a special coin or token to purchase any piece of virtual real estate in the SuperWorld app. So if you bid on that item, you can essentially go in to SuperWorld app and, I think purchase the Eiffel Tower, the CN Tower, or whatever you're interested in. And we'd also like to thank the Blockchain Intelligence Group, who's contributed by providing a certified cryptocurrency investigator course, and that has been digitized, and the starting bid on that item is $500. So I'd like to turn it over to at least you, David, for I know you got to go, but do you want to say one thing before you got to jump, just for this whole new means of raising money?
We're very excited by this. We're so honored to be able to support, Canada Gives and NCFA and our great panelists and our great contributors. I think, it's important that all of us in the community support good works, and this is a really innovative way to do this. And I'm proud to have made the first bid, although I certainly will be there to make more bids. And I encourage everyone to engage in this and try it out. And let me be clear with this: with Block Party, you don't have to have a crypto account. You can pay with fiat. So I just tried it and used my credit card. So so no one is immune from using this. Everyone can try this. Everyone can use it. So we encourage everyone to participate, raise a lot of money for charity, and see how NFTs work, and have fun.
Absolutely. I guess with your first bid, we can consider this officially launched and live. So thanks a lot for that, David. Really appreciate that. Have a good client meeting. And Krista, I'd love to, as David goes, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this new, this new channel for charitable giving. And Ruth, any last comments? Jacob, I know David's got to jump. But
yeah, I unfortunately have to jump too. But no, I'm just really honored to be a part of this, and thrilled that David and Oasis and Liquid Avatar brought the old fart digital diva here, because at 61, people don't think I understand this or know what I'm talking about. But one of my not really good works, but one of my missions is to make sure that everybody of all ages can understand, enjoy, consume this technology, collect things they love, hear the stories, tell the stories, and pass them down through future generations.
Well, I've seen your work as a digital diva. You are awesome. It's very impressive. So thanks so much for your support, Ruth, and we'll see you soon. Krista, any parting words on this?
Yes, I would like to basically, tell all artists out there who are interested in minting and getting into the NFT space. I actually think that NFTs are a positive vehicle for social change, and that you can actually lead and create incredible positive change through the sales of your NFT by supporting these charities or initiatives that you create with other artists. So get out there, and you can make a difference in the world by selling your NFTs.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Jacob, any parting words?
Oh, I just have to say thanks again for having CanadaHelps here and for supporting the fund. I think part of what it's in our DNA to enable giving through technology. So this totally aligns with everything that we're doing from day to day. So yeah, just sending a lot of love to everyone here, and thanks again.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks everyone. That's a wrap.